Hello guys, second video today, this time about tulips, again 7th of April in Kent, so early mid-spring. Well, I start today with some tulip varieties and one species that have different cultivars. The first one I will talk about is, well, careful when you buy bulbs that the seller is actually knowing what they are selling. This is supposed to be the American Dream. The American Dream is a tulip that is bright red, as you can see in the center of the petals. It's a little bit more yellowish, however, both inside and on the sides of the petals is this beautiful orange red. Well, most of the blooms is still to open, however, unfortunately, this flower, well, still is a beautiful flower, but completely different from what I was expecting. The flower is almost completely yellow. As you can see, is yellow both inside and outside. The only red areas in the petals are actually a very thin border, red border inside. I'm not too sure about the height of these tulips because they are supposed to be about 55 centimeters tall. Possibly due to the fact I have them in a pot, in a quite shallow pot, they actually didn't grow much because, well, this plant is actually maybe scarcely 30 centimeters tall. However, as I said, it might be that the cultivation in pots really affected the size of the tulips. Even if I had other tulips growing in pots, like the Red Emperor that I showed you, and is growing very well and up to the maximum size for the Red Emperor. But again, some varieties might respond differently. Here I have another yellowish tulip, yellow with some red stripes. This kind of variegated tulip, as you can see. It's not open yet. I think I will give you a feedback in a few days when the other ones are open. This is mainly yellow. This is the Gudoshnik that is supposed to be mainly red with yellow variegations. However, well, actually, as you can see behind the tulip in the foreground, there's some other tulip yellow, so it might be that this variety is actually quite different among individuals. Again, the size should have been 60 centimeters, but like the supposed to be American Dream, this is scarcely 30 centimeters. Again, as you can see, I have it in a very shallow pot, so I suppose this might affect the bulb size. Here I have a plant that, well, this is actually supposed to be about 15-20 centimeters. Yeah, 15 centimeters, and this is the tulip Winnipeg. The Winnipeg is a nice tulip with mottled variety, well, with mottled leaves. The flowers are bright yellow and with some red variegation. It's not really the shape that I like in a tulip. It's a bit irregular, and also the color is not really a big standout. But I suppose, well, if you have rock gardens, can be a nice tulip to have it. But I think personally I prefer more taller tulip with a brighter color. We have here a few blooms of this bright purple variety. This is the Passionale. I'm not sure if it was selected in Italy. However, well, this is a plant that grew actually even smaller than the American Dream. This must be about 25 centimeters tall. The flower, very bright fuchsia purple. Inside they are pale yellow, as you can see. This is a plant, well, a tulip that for sure I like for the color, but unfortunately, possibly, as I said, because of the pot conditions, they didn't grow very much. Here I have another tulip that is variegated. This is a variegation in white and purple. This is the flaming flag. I was expecting a much darker purple for the variegation. However, yeah, it looked more like a, I would say, a blueberry shake of color, and as you can see, inside is also white. Well, actually, inside the purple variegation is darker, as you can see, and the base. Oh, sorry, there's the spider. The base is kind of pale yellow. Again, I was expecting a much brighter color. This is a kind of washed out color to me, so it's not really a plant that for my taste is great in the garden, but obviously if you like soft colors, pastel colors, it is very suitable for you. I will go walk now to another corner of my garden where actually at the moment are blooming some of my favorite varieties. Well, I will start with this one. This is a bright red tulip that is called the Oscar. Yep. This tulip is again bright red, is about 35 centimeters tall. The shape of the size of the flower is not very big. Is about 5-6 centimeters tall and about 5 in wide. This is a plant that looks okay in pots. Again, I don't particularly like the flower. It doesn't look very regular. The top of the flower is actually open quite irregularly. The kind of messy look these flowers, as you can see. So the color is very nice, but really the shape of the flower is not really what I expected. So not great. Again, a little bit of a disappointment. Here I have an orange tulip instead. This is the orange emperor. I was expecting a much brighter orange for this tulip. Instead, this is a kind of pale orange with a yellowish green base, and there's a kind of green variegation at the base of the flower, as you can probably hear. You see better the green variegation. This is a flower that actually, well, as you can see, this is a flower that I have in a pot, but if in a pot, it actually grew about 40 centimeters. The height this tulip is supposed to grow. So I suppose again, some varieties actually can grow up to maximum size in a pot, while others really don't. This is definitely a flower I can recommend in the garden if you like orange. It's not a very bright orange, but if you like pastel colors, again, it is very, very suitable. The shape of the flower is a bit irregular, however they are quite big. They are about 10-11 centimeters in diameter, so surely they will stand out in your garden. Here I have some, well, again, a little bit disappointed purchase. This is supposed to be the blackest of the blackest tulip, the Paul Scherer, as advertised by J. Parker. I suppose there might be some individual variation, but so far the first two blooms are just this deep, well, not even very deep, it's like reddish purple. The blooms are quite small, kind of, I would say about 5 centimeters, and the size of this tulip is about 35 centimeters. So really, well, Maybe if you cultivate it in the garden in a better condition, not in a pots, obviously in a better condition, might give darker flowers and grow taller. However, this is just my personal experience and I'm a bit disappointed. So better go to the other side of this area with some species first and then some nice varieties I have. I will start talking about these three species tulip. Well, it's actually the same species, Tulipa humilis, that comes in, well, there's a huge range of varieties, of course, about this species. I presented already one, the Acolata Cerulo alba, in a previous video. It's completely white with like a Prussian blue base. Here we have the humilis Norah, the humilis Black Beauty, and the Persian Pearl. First of all, as you can see, these are all quite small tulips. The Norah and the Persian Pearl are about 20 centimeters tall. The Little Beauty is about 10-15 centimeters tall. And also I can show you what not to plant nearby. As you can see, I planted some crocuses, and the leaves of the crocuses are just overtaking most of the flowers. They are quite tall. However, as you can see, also the leaves of the tulip itself are quite long, so these tulip flowers really don't stand out on top of the leaves. They are kind of intermingled with the leaves, and you have to think about it when you plant them, sorry. We'll start with the Persian Pearl. The Persian Pearl is a flower that is well, sepals and petals are actually of different. Well, we have a bumblebee visit. Well, species tulips actually are really loved by bumblebees and bees. The petals and sepals have different colors. The petals outside have like a whitish tinge, whitish light pink, while the sepals are very bright dark purple. Inside, the pattern is repeated, as you can see, but it's darker purple inside and with a yellow base. The flower is quite small. It's about 3 centimeters diameter. These are definitely plants that look nice in a pot or in a rock garden, but obviously if you have it in a normal border you have to be very careful of weeds growing around that might actually impair the show of the flowers. Then I have here the Little Beauty. This is one of my favorite humilis varieties. It has a very bright pink inner part of the flower, while the outer part is a kind of delicate mixing between light green and pink. The inner part of the flower has these light lilac purple hue between the top part of the petals and sepals. Sorry, I have a leaf in between. Okay, yeah, much better this way. Bright pink on the top side, on the top part of the petals and sepals, with the pale lilac middle part towards the base, while the base is bright dark purple. Very yellow anthers and yellow stigma. This is a flower that is a really bright color. Unfortunately, again, if you intermingle it with crocuses, their leaves tend to override the flowers, as you can see. So this is a plant I would definitely recommend on its own in a pot or in a rock garden. Here we have another variety. This is the Norah. The Norah is a bigger flower than the previous two varieties. The Little Beauty also is about 2-3 centimeters in size. This one is about 5 centimeters in size. It kind of resembles the Little Beauty, except that the pink is a little bit paler than the Little Beauty. And 1 second, sorry, I have to focus on it. Yes, it's still bright, but paler than the Little Beauty. The flower is definitely big. Again, this is mid like whitish. Yeah, the middle part is more whitish, less lilac than Little Beauty, and wide dark purple center at the base of the flower. All these varieties of Tulipa humilis actually they are fragrant. Obviously, again, in tulips usually you need to stick your nose in them to smell the fragrance, and I would say yeah, it's a kind of sweet floral fragrance, so not particularly typical of this species. It's about the same fragrance of most other fragrant tulips. Here, well, I have some fusilier tulips still in bloom. I already talked about them in the previous video, so I will continue with some more red varieties. Here I have the plant, the Fostery King. This is again in pot, but as you can see, this is supposed to be about 50 centimeters tall, and actually it grew to about 50 centimeters tall, except only one is a little bit smaller, but the other two, yeah, they're about 45-50 centimeters tall. The flower is bright, absolutely bright red, both outside, a little bit lighter in the middle of the sepals. Sorry, sometimes it's a bit difficult to appreciate with the camera of the mobile, yeah, but the inner part is absolutely red, very very bright red, with a pure yellow center. The size is about I would say 7-8 centimeters tall for the flower, and about 6-7 centimeters wide. This is a tulip that I definitely recommend in the garden. Really big. The leaves are straight, so they're not flat open like the Red Emperor, so you can actually easily plant this tulip with other daffodils and other plants. It leaves some space, doesn't crush them down, and it is definitely a species that if you like bright red, it's superb in the garden. I have another red tulip here. This is the Van Eyck. The Van Eyck is red, however is kind of pinkish red, so it's still in the red hues, however it's a little bit lighter. So if you like more pastel color rather than more intense, I would probably recommend this one, the Van Eyck. Again, this, like the Fostery King, is a Darwin tulip. So Darwin tulips are famous because they actually are some of the longest lived tulips. They usually come back year after year. This is the first year I planted them, but so I will tell you next year and in the next couple of years hopefully. But yeah, it's the again, it's the color, as you can see, is like a pinkish red on the outside. The inside is a brighter red with the yellow base. The yellow base, however, is also paler, lighter than the Fostery King. Personal preference, I prefer the Fostery King, but again, if you like more pastel colors, the Van Eyck might be more suitable for you. And here at the end comes the red Darwin tulip that in the allotment is my favorite. This is the red impression. The red impression has an outer sepals and sepals that are bright red at the borders and kind of pinkish in the middle. However, the internal part is absolutely red, very bright red. A very very tiny border of yellow between the petal and the base of the flower, and the petal and the base of the flower is bright black, very dark black. This is definitely my favorite of the Darwin tulips. Again, in the allotment, this is a plant that is about 40-50 centimeters tall. And if you like bright flowers with a strong contrast of color, this is the best Darwin tulip that I can recommend you at the moment. Thank you very much for viewing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.